Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to be going through this third run of studying this practice test that I took on April 17th. I got a very low score on this test. I think I was a bit nervous. We got 44 questions and I got 26 right, 18 wrong. We're going to go through all the 44 questions here as fast as I can. Maybe not all 44. If the video gets too long, we'll see. Let's start right now with question 1. A certain bird species can fly at an average speed of 16 meters per second when in continuous flight. At this rate, how many meters would this bird species fly in 4 seconds? Alright, so I got my whiteboard here. So we got that there's a certain bird who can fly, right? This bird can fly at an average speed of 16 meters per second. So 16 meters per second, that is the speed of the bird and the average speed, and when in continuous flight. At this, so when they keep without non-stop, basically it's not like they're flying and then they stop and then they keep going, or they're going non-stop. How many meters would this bird species fly in 4 seconds? So you just plug how many meters would it fly in 4 seconds per second. 16 meters per second. How? So every 1 second it flies 16 meters. So in 4 seconds it would fly 16 multiplied times 4 is 64. So 64 is the answer. Option A is the answer here. Alright, second question. Line R in the xy plane has a slope of 4. So we have a line R. So line R in the xy plane, right? We got the xy plane here. What the y-axis, the x-axis, the line R somewhere here, line R, and it's saying it has a slope of 4. So 4x is the slope, passes through the point 0, 0. Okay, that's the y-intercept when x is 0, y is 6. So if it passes through that, right, for a slope, okay, it's gonna pass through 6 when x is 0. X is 0. It's gonna pass through positive 6. So which equation? Okay, so wait a second. When x is 0 here, 6. So it would be like this. I think so. So which equation defines? So let's say this is 6. Of course, this is 0. And then which equation defines line R? 4x slope. Okay. Which equation defines it? Well, 4x slope. The y-intercept is 6, positive. So y, this would be it. 4x plus 6, option D is it, right? This one has a negative slope and these two have the incorrect. This one has a negative y-intercept, and these have the incorrect slope. Move on. Which expression is equivalent? Which expression is equivalent to 5x5? Which expression is equivalent to 5x5? Minus 6 x4. By the way, I should do more zoom. So which expression is equivalent to 5x minus 6x plus 8x? So we just have to add the like terms, right? Actually, we're not adding like terms. We're just, it's like simplifying it in a multiplication way. So let's just see. If we multiply, if we take option, the answer is there, bro. I have to not show the answer. Okay. Answer B. Let's just go with it because you already saw the answer. X cubed times 5x. X cubed times 5x squared will give you the same 5x, but the exponents add. So now you have 5x5, which is what's in here, right? 5x5, and then x cubed times 6x. It will it will stay as 6x, but it will add the exponent 6x cubed. It already has a 1 here, so I'm sorry, it turns into 4 because it already has a 1 here, so 1 plus 3 is 4. And then 8x cubed plus times 8 will give you just 8x cubed because it doesn't have any x. So option B is correct. Move on. The equation x plus y, 1440. Okay, the equation x plus y is 1440. Represents the number of minutes daylight between sunrise and sunset. So x is the sunrise, the daylight minutes. X is daylight minutes. And y, the number of minutes of non-daylight, y. So y is the number of minutes of non-daylight, right? And that is somewhere in Illinois. And then if this day has 670 minutes of daylight, so this day has 670 minutes of daylight. So it's asking for how many minutes of non-daylight does it have. So x, the minutes of daylight plus the minutes of, how many minutes are there in a day? How many minutes are there in a day? 1440, right? So that's correct. So that non-daylight plus daylight is 1440. We know that x is 670 minutes of daylight, so 670. So we would just plug 670 for x plus y. That is 1440. And then what are we going to do here? We're going to subtract the 670 from the 1440. So that's going to be 1440 minus 670, which would give you, let's see how much it gives you. If I do the calculation, I'm going to try to open the calculator here on the browser. Calculator, and let's do, you might not see it. Great. Awesome. Whatever. So I'll do the math here behind the screens. 1440 minus 670 will be 770. So the result of this subtraction is 770, which means y is 770. So minutes of non-daylight is 770, which is option B. So option B is correct. Okay, let's see. Scott selected 20 employees at random from all 400 employees at a company. So Scott selected 20 employees at random from all 400 employees at a company. So 20 employees at random from all 400 employees at a company. Okay, Scott selected 20 employees. Okay, Scott selected 20 employees at random from all 400 employees. So there were 400 employees, and Scott selected just 20 of them. And he found that 16 of those 20, which is essentially 80%, right? 80% of 20 is 16. So 80% of the sample of workers or employees he took was 16. Well, 80% of the employees in the sample are enrolled in exactly 3 professional development courses this year. So they are enrolled in a course in 3 courses. Based on Scott's findings, which of the following is the best estimate of the number of employees at the company who are enrolled in exactly 3 professional development courses this year? So based on this finding that 80% of the employees he selected are enrolled in 3 courses, we just do 80% of 400, and that'll tell us how many employees at the company are enrolled in exactly 3 professional development courses this year. So 400, okay, just do the math. For 80 point times 80 or point times 8 times 400, it'll give you 320, which is 80%. 320 employees are 220 employees, option B, are enrolled in exactly 3 professional development courses this year. Okay, which equation has the same solution as the given equation? So okay, let's see which equation has the same solution as a given equation. Easy. I made a very dumb mistake here that I'm going to explain because I was rushing. I know this is I thought this was the solution, and I saw this 63 here and I just picked C, but that is never it. The solution here, the word solution is referring to the value of x, not the value of not the value on the right. So what do you do here? Ideally, you have to find the value of x. So you would have to, if it's multiplying by 7, you can divide both sides by 7. On the left side, of course, you eliminate the 7 and you just get 2x minus 3. And on this side, you divide 63 by 7, which is 9. Right? 63 by 7 is 9. And so this exact thing is option A, so that's how you would know immediately. But if you want to find the value of of x at 3, you get 12. 2x divide by 2, you get 6, and then you can plug 6 into any of these 4 answers. The first answer would be, of course, 2 times 6, 12, 12 plus 12 minus 3, 12 minus 3, 9, which is option A, right? Move on. Option B is the same thing as this, but it has a different result, 56. This one has a 21, this one has a 21, no need for a 21, so let's move on. The given equation relates the positive number c, p, and k. Which equation correctly expresses c in terms of p and k? Alright, so p and k, correct. So if we want to express something in terms of something, in terms of p and k in this case, if we want to express that something in terms of something, that something that we want to express, we have to get it by itself. We have to isolate it. That's why in all the options, c is by itself on the left side. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the equation, right? It says c minus 7. Okay, so we just have to add the 7, and the c would be by itself. So 25p plus k plus 7 would be the answer. 25p plus k plus 7. Option A is it. So this one is subtracting it. It's already subtracting, so you have to do the opposite operation in order to send it to the other side. Over here, the C7, it's multiplying times 7. It's multiplying times the number. Again, the opposite of subtraction is addition. It's not multiplication or division like option D. So option A is the only one correct option, is the only correct option. Function P estimates that there were 2,000 animals in a population in 1998. So in 1998, there were 2,000 animals in the population. A function P estimates that there were 2,000 animals in the population in 1998. Okay, so in 1998, there were 2,000 animals in the population. Each year from 1998 to 2010, the function estimates that the number of animals in this population increased by 3% of the number of animals in the population in the previous year. So this is an exponential function because it increases by 3% of the animal population in the previous year. Which equation defines this function, where p of x is the estimated number of animals in the population x years after 1998. So we just have to find the function that adds 3% to what they already have. This one adds 300%, it triples them. This one adds 97%. 1 is what it already has. 0.97% is 97%. 2,000 is the initial value. This one adds what it already has, the initial value with a 1, and 0.3, which translates to 3%. And I'm actually going to try and do that in Desmos. Okay, we have the question on the screen now, and okay, so Desmos is here, 1.03. Let me try that. 2,000 initial value multiplied by 3% to the power of x. To the power of x, no, not that x, to the power of just x, which x will be, in 1998, there hadn't been any years after 1998, so x will be 0, which is initial value. 1 year after, it's going to be 3% of that. 2 years after, it's going to be 3% of that. 3 years after, 3% of that. 4 years after, 3% of that. Option D here is decreasing by 3%, right? Not adding. So that's why option C is correct.